We don't want uranium mining to happen in Western Australia because we know very clearly the link between uranium mining and nuclear weapons. So you can't have nuclear weapons without uranium mining and without the stage of it going through the nuclear power stations. We really have to make sure that people understand that uranium mining is not just about nuclear power. It never has been just about nuclear power. Uranium is the raw material for nuclear weapons. That's why we want the state government here to stay really clear in its opposition to uranium mining, and we wish that Australia as a whole would not sell uranium anywhere, but especially to a country like India, which is not a member of the nuclear non-proliferation regime, and of course they're building nuclear weapons. And we don't like it that companies, international companies, are taking over from, say, a uranium deposit at Kintyre, the Mitsubishi company from Japan. This is a bad step, wrong direction. They're just waiting for a change of government, waiting until they can get their hands on that uranium. They're bad for climate change. We are creating more greenhouse emissions. That it is not clean and green. That's an absolute lie when companies say that nuclear power is clean and green. It produces nuclear waste. It produces greenhouse emissions at every stage along the cycle, from the mining, the milling, the transporting, the building of the reactors, every bit except the actual boiling of water in the reactors. But it's what comes out of the reactors later that is the most worrying part. That is the waste that nobody knows what to do with. Nobody anywhere has found a solution to nuclear waste, the radioactive contaminated leftovers, and always that threat that the plutonium from the reactors will be used for future nuclear weapons programs. Everybody who's got nuclear weapons says, oh, we don't want to use them. Well, at least most countries say we don't want to use them because they're too dangerous. Unfortunately, humans being what they are, there's never been a weapon devised yet which has not been used, which has been made and then just stockpiled. Nuclear weapons have already been used. Here we are on Hiroshima Day commemorating the use of nuclear weapons by the United States against Japan in 1945. So nuclear weapons have already been used in warfare, but even worse, there have been at least 6 occasions on which nuclear weapons have been almost unleashed by accident, because humans make mistakes, computers make mistakes, and of course there can be rogue elements which really do want to use so-called dirty bombs.
Can you imagine America actually utilising nuclear weapons?
Well, they've threatened to on many occasions. They have. Against, if they are put in a really tough corner and everything else is failing, they too will be tempted, as might the Russians be tempted. There's another Cold War building because the Americans are insisting on building this missile defense system, which the Russians see as directly threatening and challenging their own power. So we're unfortunately seeing another new arms race developing. Now, unfortunately, people who are in charge of nuclear weapons sometimes forget what they actually can do, and their end result, if they're used, would be totally devastating. Because what we saw in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were tiny little baby bombs at the beginning of the nuclear age. The bombs that are out there now waiting in missile silos or on B-52 bombers flying around on hair trigger alert or in submarines ready to be launched are much, much bigger and much more devastating than what we saw at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So the effects on global warming, I mean, that could be climate change in one ghastly scenario.